gives me great pleasure to welcome you to, yes, this final week of our 8-week program of lectures to help you start preparing for university life. It will also, these sessions have also helped you to develop skills that will make the transition easier by providing you with discussions on what to expect of your first year at university, how to deal with the pressure, how to improve your academic skills, with introductions to all aspects and stages of the academic reading and writing processes. You will have learned about research, note-taking, structuring your work and presentation skills, and how to manage your time more effectively. And if you've done any of these sessions already, you will know that your lecturer for this program is Dr. Claudia Prieto Piestro, who teaches modules on academic skills as well as intercultural studies. Now, today's final session will help you to become an independent learner. You'll focus on time management and research skills, on how to use the library effectively, and how to timetable the hours you will need to write that all-important essay. So do enjoy. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful session, and without further ado, please allow me to introduce Dr. Claudia Prieto Piestro. Over to you, Claudia.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's really nice to see you all today in our last session. This session has the aim of explaining to you which is the importance of becoming an independent learner. What do we mean by that, and what is expected from you now that you are going to start your university studies. As you know by now, you are free to ask me in the chat whatever you want at any point, and I will do my best to answer as many questions as I can. You will see that now, because this is the last session and we have covered almost all the skills that we need, it's a bit of a summary, let's say, of everything that we have covered. And we will start by discussing what is an independent learner, what is independent study, some learning, what does it takes to be learning independently, and which study skills you need. This is quite an important topic. One of the characteristics of the UK education system or higher education system is that it relies a lot on you becoming an independent learner, meaning that you will be required to do most of the work at uni outside the classroom, not when you are just sitting, listening to your teacher. Remember also that ideally you are an active learner, meaning that even when you're sitting in that classroom listening, you are critically analyzing everything that it's been said, and therefore you arrive to that classroom already prepared, okay? So I want you to think about your lecturers in university, not as these people that we told you exactly what to do, when to do, what to learn, and what is right and what is wrong, but as a person that is there to facilitate your learning process, somebody that is going to guide you through the most important topics, to the most important content or skills that you need to learn in a particular model, but that is not like a high school or a primary school teacher. That is somebody that is part of a research community, okay? And that therefore his main duty with you is to facilitate your learning, helping you find the resources that you need or the key topics, but it's not there just to illuminate you with their knowledge. That is quite an old-fashioned idea. He's there to help you finding that knowledge and finding your own opinions and point of views. So first, what is an independent learner? So the first characteristic is that it's somebody that will take responsibility for their studies, okay? Both face-to-face and online learning in a university environment requires you to really take responsibility for what you learn and what you decide not to learn. Some students are aware of which are their weaknesses and their strong points, and that helps them a lot in taking responsibility for this learning process and this journey they will go through university. They are also self-motivated. They know why they are there, why they chose the career path they are choosing, and which is the aims and the goals that they have through their university years. I really advise you to write down which are your aims before you start university, and maybe revise them every year. Check what has changed, what do you want to add, and what has been achieved. These might not sound too fun or entertaining, but it's actually quite helpful to be reviewing those goals that we started and how we have worked for them. Maybe when you revise it in your third year, you would think, oh God, no, I was so naive. Or maybe you would say, great, I achieved from 5 goals 4, and I just need to keep working on this one. They also know when to seek help. That is really important. Being independent doesn't mean that you need to do everything by yourself and alone, okay? Universities, Brunel has a lot of facilities, a lot of people that are there for helping you. From the student union, okay, to the student advisors, to your lecturers, to the head of your program, to your classmates, team members. Everybody is there to help you, okay? Not only to achieve excellent grades, but having the best experience possible. Wherever you don't know who to look for help, just ask around, and they will be able, people around you, the head of your department, your lecturers, will be able to tell you, just go with that person or in that direction, and they will help you find the help that you need. It's really important, okay, that you remember that there is no weakness in finding help or looking out for help. It's accepting that we're not alone, we cannot do everything by ourselves, and sometimes we really need some help. There are good time managers. Good time managers are not those that are 10 hours in front of a computer pretending to work, okay? Good time managers are those that are aware of how much they can work, how many time are they willing to devote to a task or an assessment or a class, and that they also know which are their level of skills, where do they need to work more or less. Also are those who remember that they do have a social life and that they want to keep that social life, and they will be able to timetable correctly those activities that will help them keep their mental health, okay? As I said, an independent learner does know their strengths and weaknesses. We're not perfect. We don't know everything. We're not expecting you to be perfect. So if you have 5 or 4 models, you might find that you're really good at 2 and that you are really struggling with the other 2, okay? Knowing that and accepting that you're struggling and that there are things that are more difficult for you and other things that are easier will help you timetable correctly, will help you to seek for help when you need it, and to take responsibility for your studies. So you probably know by now which are already your strengths. Maybe you are an excellent reader, okay? You are an excellent reader, you have really good critical skills, you enjoy reading, you have a large vocabulary, a wide vocabulary, you are good engaging with the literature, and you are really keen in learning more of certain topics. But maybe your grammar is terrible and you need help with that, and it's fine. There's nothing to be ashamed of. So look for help and accept which are your weaknesses, and you will be fine, okay? And then take pride on your achievements, okay? It's important. At some point in time, they told us like not to be raving about what we have achieved and to keep quiet the things that we're really good at. Don't do that. If you're proud of something you achieved, even if it's tiny, even if it's not an achievement for somebody else, tell your friends, tell your family. You should be really proud for whatever you achieve. Maybe you are terrible at math and you pass the model. You should be proud. Even if it's not an A, You know your weaknesses, you know your strengths, so you also know what success or how success looks for you. That is another really important thing here. Success in university looks really differently for people, okay? So do not try to compare yourself, do not give yourself that stress, okay? Success for you might be passing certain modules and getting A's in another module. Success for you might be being able to make friends from different cultural backgrounds. Success for you might be cooking by yourself a 3-course meal. That's fine, okay? So remember that success also is not measuring grades. Success is what you think it is, and when you are able to change things, okay, that is learning, when we are able to make knowledge our own and to change things in our behavior or our mental structure according to those things that we learn. So you decide how success looks for you, and do not allow anybody to tell you how does it look. So any question up to now? No? Okay, let's move on then. So what is independent study? What do we mean by that? Independent study is a feature of most courses at this level. By this level, I mean higher education. Typically, it means managing your own study in between thought sessions. Once you start your classes, you will notice that in most of the syllabus or programs that your lecturers upload into Blackboard or any virtual learning platform they are using, you will notice that it says how many contact hours you will have per week and how many study hours you are required. That is a suggestion, but that means that most of your learning will not happen with a lecturer in front of you. Most of your learning will happen in the library, okay? Or it would happen sitting on a desk, reading, practicing, experimenting, okay? But do not expect just to go to class, take notes, and that is pretty much it, okay? You will have to arrive to class, okay, with your material already prepared. So you don't wait to prepare to learn about a topic after the session, you start before. That is why it's so important for you that the first thing that you have to do, even before the first session of a module, is to check the syllabus, okay? Check the learning outcomes. What are you supposed to learn here? Check the essential readings and the further readings. Decide which topics are you keen to learn, which are going to be more difficult for you, and start working on them. You probably will find that your lecturers give you really long reading lists, really, really long, okay? Nobody expects you to read everything, okay? We expect you to read everything that is essential in a timely way, so before the sessions, okay, to have questions, okay, but nobody is expecting you to read everything that says further reading. Those are for you to explore when you feel that you really want to learn more about a topic, or when you're researching that for an assessment, an exam, an essay, okay? So please remember that most of the work will happen outside of the classroom, and there is when you become an independent learner, because you will decide how much time you give to the content of certain models, or how much time you do not give to them if you're not interested, or you find that you are already, or that you already have the skills to do certain things. So this is a decision that you have to take, okay? It might not happen anything. Maybe you decide that there's no reason to give more time to certain things and that you can achieve a great grade anyway, but maybe you decide that it's not enough for you, that you really want to learn that topic, that you really want to know more about certain things. So you will have to decide where, when, and how, okay, you use your time. And you might struggle with this a bit at the beginning, okay, but it's a really key part of your studies in higher education. Now you will be starting in September with a blended style of teaching, meaning you will have some classes in campus and some classes using Zoom and other technologies. So you have to be aware of this also. You have to be really careful with how you will be managing your time, and be really aware of the limitations that these might imply for you. So maybe you know that for you it's going to be better to study at night because during the day is really busy in your house or really noisy, or you have to work. So you will find a way to do this, and it will take practice as everything, okay? You will make a few mistakes at the beginning and then you will find your way. Any question? So learning independently in university. As I mentioned, lecturers are there to facilitate learning, to guide you. In the old days, okay, we used to think that a lecturer was there just to illuminate us with all of their language, that they were always right, that we couldn't question them, and that we didn't have a right to have an opinion. So that our duties as students was to sit down, take notes, and say, yes, professor, and just say everything or repeat everything they have done or said in our exams or assessments. And that was pretty much it. Things have changed a lot, and we don't see learning anymore like that. We think the duty of a lecturer is to facilitate your own language, to help you form your own opinions. And you have to remember, you will be part of this learning and researching and teaching community once you're in university. So the first thing that I always tell to my students is that we do care about what you think. Previously, they might have told you when you write an essay, you can only include your opinion in the conclusions. Don't do that anymore. We want to know your opinion immediately after we start reading you. We really want to know what you think, which is the evidence that you have, which is the mental process that you're following to get to those points of view. And you can't disagree with us. That is really important. As long as you're respectful, okay? You can't disagree with anybody as long as you have evidence. You have to, it's perfectly fine to have questions, to change of opinions, to struggle with things. But universities have this calling for building new knowledge and innovating and have produced new ideas. So you are part of those communities now, and we want to know what you have and what you think. So please don't be worried about disagreeing with somebody. As I said, part of being an independent learner means that you will be doing a lot of research and work by yourself. Okay, you will be reading other authors. You will probably find out that your lecturer is part of a school of thought and that there are many other people thinking different things. So you might agree with somebody else, and I'm sure your lecturers will be happy to discuss those ideas with you and to explain you why they think what they think. You will never be marked on your opinions as long as I said, as you have evidence to sustain your claims, and as long those opinions are, or those points of view are respectful. There is no problem with disagreeing with anybody. That is part of being an independent learner. You also will have a lot of choice, okay? And how much you learn is going to be up to you. We're not here to police you. Learning shouldn't be policed. We're here, as I said, to facilitate your learning, to help you, okay, follow those learning outcomes or getting where you want to go. But we're not going to police you. So you will have to decide when you study, what you study, and how important this is for you. You will be the only judge of your process, okay? So you will have to decide, for example, if you fail an assessment, okay, because you were sick, okay, it's something that can happen to anybody, and that there are different mechanisms in university to help you with that. So it's fine if you fail because you were hangover after a party, okay? That was also your decision, and you have to take responsibility for your own choice. So having choices, as you know, comes with a lot of responsibility, and is something that you will need to manage when and how you decide to do some things and when you decide not to, or that they are not important for you. Again, as I said, if you need help, you need to look for it, okay? We're not policing you, but we are also not nannies, okay? So you will have to look out for help. Sometimes you will be sitting in really large classroom, and if you have a problem, your lecturer or classmates might not notice it unless you say so. So ask questions and look for help. We will not be able to offer you help if we don't know you have a problem. It's your responsibility to tell us something is wrong, or that you don't understand something, or that something is happening in your life and that you need some support. So please do not be afraid of asking for help, but don't expect us to know without you telling us. You will have more freedom. Use it wisely in everything, okay? Freedom is great, but also, okay, it means that you will have to grow up a bit, okay? Decide, take responsibility. And a really important thing, okay? Deadlines are not suggestions. It's your responsibility to remember them, to take note. I find a lot of people that think that these are just suggestions and they can submit things a week later. No, there are no negotiable either, and most of the time deadlines do not depend on your lecturer, so it's not even, there's no point even in trying to convince them to accept your work afterwards, because most of the times deadlines are set up by administrations and they have the control of who submitted late and why. Okay, there are two really simple things that you need to follow to really be able to succeed in university. One, follow and remember deadlines. Okay. Second one, read instructions carefully. If you don't read instructions carefully, you will not be able to answer the things that they are asking you to do. It might sound really basic, but it is quite important, okay? Most of the time, and not only students, everyone skips the instructions of things. We buy something and we just plug it in without reading the instructions. And many things nowadays don't even have it because they know nobody's going to read them. So don't do that in your exams, in your assessments, in your presentations. Read the instructions, read the syllabus, make sure you understand. If you don't understand, look out for help, email your lecturer. There's another thing that is really important to become an independent learner, and is part of looking out for help. There is something called office hours. Your lecturers will tell you that on Tuesdays, for example, they are happy to see you between 9 and 10, okay? What happens is that students do not go to office hours during the term, and they will only go 1 week before the assessment to look for help. That means that you will be in line, waiting for your lecturer to have 10 minutes, okay? Because everybody in your class is doing the same. Instead, if you go at the beginning of the term, if you start working earlier in your assessments, your tutor will be able to offer you a bit more time, okay? And you will save time by not making lines waiting for them, okay? Office hours are really key part of university learning. If you're sitting with 300 students in a classroom, your lecturer might never notice you. Instead, if you go to his office, if you ask for help, if you email them, they will, okay? They will listen to your questions and they will be able to give you guidance. So use them. Use all of the resources that you have available. There are many of them, okay? As I said, from the student union to the library services, to people in the library that are experts in your field and will help you find books, to ask that will help you with your English and with your writing. You just need to research them, to make appointments, to look for help. But there's always somebody there that can guide you and make your journey to university easier. Do we have any question? Okay, so what are we lecturers expecting from you? first of all, that you are self-motivated, that you know why you're in university, why do you want to pursue the degree that you're pursuing, okay? And that you know that maybe you're not that interested in that model, but at the end, it will be useful, okay? So don't expect your lecturers to be motivating you to do things all the time. If you don't want to do something, that is your responsibility, okay? So you have, okay, to be self-motivated, to find reasons why you're there. So that's why I'm suggesting you to write them before you start, okay? So when you feel down, when things get hard, when you find something that is taking too much time or that you don't find interesting at all, you can remember why you are at university. We're also expecting you to be open to work with others. Teamwork is really important, not only during your university years, but in general, okay? You will be having to work in teams for the rest of your life. Sometimes we don't like our teammates, okay? Sometimes somebody doesn't want to work with us, or they don't want to work and that's it. Learning how to deal with your classmates or your teammates is a transferable skill that is fundamental for your professional life, okay? And that can be really rewarding, okay? Most of the times when we work in teams during university, we have issues with somebody. Either somebody didn't submit their work or somebody is doing everything and doesn't allow the rest, okay? So be open to work with others, even if they are not your friends, even if you don't have anything in common. Be organized and help those others being the best versions of themselves they can. That is part of being a team member, okay? And sometimes being a team member also means letting know your lecturer that there are issues in that team, that something is not working. A lot of the time when one of our team members is not working with us correctly is because there are some issues there that need to be solved and that he needs help with. So help your teammates, talk with your lecturers, be open about the people you work with, and don't be afraid of really engaging in this type of activities. However, you also should have the ability to work things out for yourself, okay? Before you ask, try to solve the things yourself, and if you can't, go and ask for help. As I said, this is a really important thing, okay? It's really important to have initiative, okay? To look out for things, to go to the library before anybody tells us to Google something, to try to solve our issues without constant intervention or input from our lecturer, okay? We're also expecting you to be able to organize your time, okay? So if you are really into sports and you will have Wednesdays for sports, you will have to look for an alternative time to study. And if you have a clash in classes, you will have to solve it. We're not going to be monitoring everything you do, okay? So it's your responsibility to organize your time. And as I said, okay, it's really important that on that timetable and on those ways you have to organize your time, you find spaces to socialize, to exercise, to sleep, okay, to rest, to see your family, to speak to them, okay? So we're not expecting students to be studying 24 hours, 7 days a week, okay? We want the students that become whole persons that are able to manage both their personal and their professional life in a really satisfactory way for them, that makes them better humans, happier humans, okay? So you have to be able to organize your time and to include those social hours. Socialization is a fundamental part of your university life, something that you will remember, and I'm sure you have heard this. These are going to be the best years of your life. They will be. They're going to be great, but you have to really work on that. You have to be open to work with others, to meet people that are completely different to you, and to allow you to say like, hey, I'm not going to study today. I have done my work for the week. I'm just going to go out and meet new people and make new friends or practice that sport that I have never done before, okay? And again, it's your responsibility to work out when, as I said, it might be at night, and how you learn the best. Maybe you notice that the best way for you is to record lectures. Maybe the best way for you is to take really complex and detailed notes, or maybe the best way for you is to be reading before class as wide as possible, or maybe it takes for you a really long time, so you prefer, well, weeks in advance. That is your decision, and there's millions of different ways in which you can work at university. You just need to try them to find out which is the best for you. There are also some things that you need to understand about higher education. The first thing, as I said, teachers are also researchers. The main job of your lecturers is to research. They will spend most of the time researching certain topics, okay? So it might be that they specialize. You are a politics student and you have a lecturer that teaches you British political system, okay? His research topic might be 19th century British politics. So most of the time he will be studying that, okay? He is going to be the right person to ask any question you have on that topic, okay? But what I want you to remember is that apart from you, they have a lot of responsibilities, okay? During the summer when they are not teaching, maybe they are away in another country researching, okay? So try to respect the timelines they give you. If they tell you they have office hours on Tuesday from 9 to 11, be there from 9 to 11 and don't try to go there on Wednesday because they have other things to do. But the wonderful thing about having teachers that are also researchers is that they are on top of the game. They know whatever is going on in your field. They are in contact and they have networks with people all around the world. They go to conferences, they publish constantly, okay? So their knowledge is growing constantly, is changing, is updated, okay? So it's not something, they are not teaching you something that they have been teaching for the last 20 years without changes. Every year or every term, they will be updating the material and things and the reading list. And you have to remember that social sciences and sciences in general move constantly and change, and we make discoveries and innovations. So being part of university means, okay, that the knowledge you are getting is being updated constantly. And that is a great advantage that not everybody has, okay? You are expected to manage your own learning. I have said this for the last 40 minutes constantly, okay? You are expected to be responsible for whatever you learn and to decide how much and what do you need to learn. And I don't want you to think that learning is memorizing. It's important to memorize certain things, but we can find everything in Google. Learning means making knowledge part of your life, changing perceptions, changing the lenses we use to understand and to see the world, okay? So be open, arrive to university with an open mind, be willing to change your perceptions and your ideas of the world according to the discipline you will be studying. Be willing to ask all the questions that you have, okay? Do not be that girl sitting in the back of the classroom that never asked anything. Be brave, be courageous, and ask it, okay? If you have the question, probably half of your group also wants to ask that. And you need to remember that universities are knowledge-building communities, okay? Universities have a duty to society to change paradigms and to innovate and revolutionize ideas, okay? So if you have this really innovative idea, just try it out with your classmates, with your lecturers. Do not be afraid of saying what you want and to say what you think. Again, I want to repeat, this is not about memorizing. University is about acquiring skills that will allow you to be a great professional, okay? About acquiring knowledge that will allow you to build new knowledge, okay? To change ideas. We study history, we study people that went before us to be able to take those ideas, okay, and say, this was great, but now I think I can build something on top of that great idea. So be open to say whatever you think. It's really important, okay? There are a lot of benefits to being in university and to being an independent learner, okay? You will have more control over your time. You will have more choices from the classes you take to the social events you assist to who are your friends. There are so many people going to university that you will have so many possibilities and so many choices of social events, okay? But that means also that you will have more responsibilities, and that is also a benefit, okay? This is preparing you for your professional and personal life. And you also will have more control over what you learn and what you study. Skills that you need to work on before you go, before you start your first class, social skills, okay? How to speak in public, how to manage yourself in large groups, how to work in teams, as I said, how to adapt to new environments. Make a list, write down what do you think you are really good at and the things that you might need to learn or to work on in your first year, okay? Reading skills. We started this Get You Ready program with our reading skills, and I reminded you that reading skills are the key to succeed. They are really important, okay? You will spend most of your time either reading or writing, okay? So if you have questions about that, please look at the videos of our first 2 sessions. In the first one, I gave you a really long list of alternative readings that you could do during the summer and that will help you improve your language skills or will keep you entertained for a bit, that they could even help you with punctuation. So just take a look at that if you have questions or you really want to read more during this summer. Time management. There are now a lot of ways of improving our time management. You could, of course, take a whiteboard and just write down your timetable for each week, but there are many apps that will help you to monitor how many hours you studied, how many hours you slept, when did you eat, okay? And also, you have to be flexible, okay? Be willing to change things around. Be willing to go to the other side of the city to see your teammates, okay? And be also open-minded to change your perceptions and your interests constantly. About time management, okay? I just have a few tips that I want to give you before we leave. First, be honest about how you use your time now, okay? Maybe write down how you use your day or how you were using it when you were studying, okay? My second tip is to plan. This might sound a bit nerdy, but it's actually quite useful. Write your own timetable. You will have a timetable with the classes you will have to take. But maybe plan that if you have a class on Tuesday from 9 to 11 and then one from 2 to 4, the rest of the morning or the hours that you have between both classes, you will spend them researching or preparing a presentation or an assessment or reading for your following class, okay? So make that plan and stick to it, okay? Follow it, it's quite important. As I said, monitor yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to be honest. You were 8 hours in front of the computer, but you only really work 1 hour. You're the only person that will know that, okay? So be honest about it. Check your timetable, your deadlines constantly, okay? And make sure that your extracurricular activities are actually working for you. If there are too much, or if you actually have some extra time in your hands, make use of it wisely. decide which are your priorities and which things are urgent. Sometimes we try to postpone those things that we don't want to do or we find more boring. I prefer to start my days with those things that I don't want to do, just to take them out of the way. Another suggestion will be to start with your day with those tiny things like sending an email to a lecturer or sending a WhatsApp to a classmate to arrange a meeting. Just take them out of your day as soon as possible and then go with the long ones. Some people notice that they are really good at working in blocks, so maybe they will decide that half a day will be for the assessment day of one class and then that the rest of the day will be for the other one. Some others prefer to finish one thing and then go for the other one. Decide which kind of person you are and apply that knowledge you have about yourself in your timetable in planning, okay? And please allow time for distractions. Be honest, we all procrastinate, we know it, so allow time for that. And when things are not working out, go out, take a run, and come back and try to study. If definitely is not working, okay? Close your computer for a day and come back later. That is why I'm telling you, you have to be able to prepare your time, to plan, okay? Leave room for mistakes. Leave room for being sick or for something unexpected. And also remember that if you do not sleep and eat correctly, nothing else matters. You have to sleep. Do not try to write an essay 8 hours before the deadline at night. It's not going to work well, okay? I was a student for 13 years. I really know what I'm talking about. It's not going to work, okay? You can't plan things. It's going to be better if the night before exam you sleep, okay? Because you will be able to focus better the next day in the exam. So try, okay, to plan and to take time for everything. Finally, I have some recommendations on how to manage time or to organize yourself as an independent learner. First, this is a book, the Study Skills Handbook, okay? It's available in Kindle, in libraries. It's quite a popular book. Stella Control also has another book on critical thinking skills. This will go through everything that I told you now in detail. We'll have a lot of activities that you might find quite interesting and helpful. Then this little elephant is Evernote. Evernote is a program that you can download for free in your computer and will help you to keep your notes organized and to write notes of PDF. This is a really useful tool, okay? So you might want to download it and start playing with it to learn how to use it. Mendeley is an online library, let's say, that allows you to organize all the articles, academic articles that you download, to manage your references and to build teams to share your documents. It's a little bit like Dropbox, okay, but it will allow you to keep notes and will do the reference for you. So it is a really helpful tool. Then Cite and Write is a web page that is not free, but if you're at Brunel, you will have access to it. And Cite and Write is a great source of, if you have a doubt of how to reference something, whatever it is, it could be referencing Instagram, they have all the correct answers, okay? So it's a really, really good thing to have open when you're writing an essay, really useful. And then Pomodoros, I have talked about this before, is an app. Well, there are many apps, but Pomodoro is a method that allows you to keep track of the time that you're actually studying, and it doesn't allow you to procrastinate. So you download one of the Pomodoros apps, okay, to your phone. First of all, it's going to block the screen, so that is probably quite useful, and it will give you periods of time, maybe 20 minutes, in which you should be working, and they will, after, give you 5 or 10 minutes of break. Once a Pomodoro is completed, that is more or less an hour, okay, they will give you a longer break, and they will constantly be monitoring a bit your time management. So really, there are many different apps for keeping the Pomodoro, so it's a really useful one. That is it from me today, but if you have any question, please, this is the moment. I will be happy to answer any question you have about this topic, or maybe anything that you want to ask about our previous sessions. Okay, I hope this was really helpful. And if you have any question, please just go back to our recordings, and I hope that you find not only this session but the previous ones useful. And I hope to see you in September at Brunel. Oh, yes, can you share your suggested reading list? Is in my presentation for the first session. If you ask one of the organizers, they will send you that list, okay? Or they will send you the recordings. You can have access to the recordings, but I'm not sure where, so I'm going to, you should ask the organizers, but I think you can find them in the webpage of Brunel if you look for the Get You Ready program. It's the first one of reading skills. It was really nice having you here, and best of luck in your first year. Bye.